The thing is, you don't fully belong to a new culture yet, and you live in very different realities. Losing yourself is a terrible thing that could happen. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are near the Castle of Dotsa in a very picturesque place, and I wanted to talk to you about something that I don't really hear people talking about, especially among expats. So when you become an expat, you will probably have certain expectations, and those expectations might actually not be what you get in reality. However, after 6 years of my expat life, I still see the articles and videos online about what to expect when you become an expat, and actually none of these articles or videos prepare you for what will actually happen to you. So I've made a list of 10 things that no one tells you about being an expat that I've learned in my 6 years of expat life, and I wanted to share them with you today. So if you're ready, let's get into the video. So thing number one that you don't expect when you move abroad is actually that being an expat might be lonely. It is a lonely adventure. If you move together with your family or your partner, your spouse, it will definitely be easier for you because you will have your support group at all times, although it will also be a challenge for your relationship, no matter where you live and no matter how good your relationship is. However, if you're moving solo, it could be really, really lonely. First of all, because you won't find friends immediately, despite what you might think, despite what movies and series show us, despite what people tell us, you will not find friends immediately, and that's okay. And that's what you have to get on terms with and just to let go, because that's the reality of expat life. You will have so many things going on your mind that it will just not be the first thing on your agenda. It might get lonely. You will not be used to it, especially if you had lots of friends back home. It will be a challenge for you. It will be something that you have to adjust to, but that's okay. It will pass too, and it's not something that you cannot live without, You will eventually find new friends, you will eventually find people who will become close to you. Just give yourself time and it will be fine. We have a little friend following us around. So thing number two is that your friendships back home will fade with time, and it's totally fine too. You don't spend as much time as you used to with your friends back home, you don't speak that often, you just don't see each other often, and you live in very different realities. They live back home, they keep on with the life you had before. You, on the other hand, you are growing, you are changing, you're evolving every single day, and you're going through the challenges your friends back home will never go through unless they become expats too. And it's a bitter thing, but that's true. Your friendships will fade with time. Some of your friends will stay, some of your friends will go, and it's okay. So that might definitely contribute to your feeling of loneliness. However, it's not the end of the world. You will find new friends, and some of your friends back home will prove to be true friends, to be real friends, who will support you throughout your experience, who will understand you and your experience and what you're going through, or at least they will try to. And it will actually strengthen your bond and strengthen your relationship. So it's not such a bad thing, actually. It will just be a challenge for all your relationships, All the things can cause you to feel invisible at times, and this is my thing number three that nobody tells you about being an expat. The thing is, you don't fully belong to a new culture yet, or chances are you will never fully belong to it because you don't have the same upbringing, you don't have the same origins, and it's okay, it's fine, it's just how life is. On the other hand, you don't fully belong at home either, because that's just the life, You go on, you move on, you don't know what's going on back home, you don't know how the things are changing, and when you come home you find that you don't fully belong there too. That might be distressing, but that's normal too, and that's something that you live with, You have to learn to live with and to just accept as a fact. You will eventually catch up with everything that's going back home and with everything that's going in your new country. You will learn the language, you will watch the news, you will talk to people, and will learn some of their background too. However, you will never actually belong at 100%. And that's just the reality of being an expat. The thing number 4 that happens when you become an expat is that no matter how well do you speak your new language, you will still feel inadequate from time to time. You know, even if you live for 5 years, for 10 years in that country, some things will be challenging for you. Dialects and some things that just are colloquial, things that people say from time to time in their speech, things that people learn from their family growing up in that country. You will eventually have some difficulty with that. And that's not a big problem too, because you know, you learn the language, you improve your language skills, and you accept your limits. By the way, expat life teaches you a lot to accept your limits, and that's a good thing actually, because you learn this about yourself too. There is nothing wrong with that. So if you feel inadequate, even after years of living abroad, if you feel inadequate about your language skills, that's fine. Just know that we all feel the same. People won't tell you that. People will put something like a video of how I became fluent, or an article of top tips to learn the language, and I do the same thing too. I'm helping people and I want to help people do it. However, I just want to tell you that we all have our limits, and that's fine. We just have to accept them. There is nothing wrong with it. Hello there. So the thing number 6, you know, culture differences and various mindsets, different mindsets, are fun when you travel. However, they are not as fun when you live in that country. Sometimes they will drive you nuts. The culture differences, the differences in how people approach life, relationship, everyday stuff, they ask for an adjustment from your side, and sometimes this adjustment could be tough, because sometimes you will just look at the people around you and say, no, they drive me nuts. And that's okay, that's fine, because you're not used to their customs, you're not used to their traditions, and sometimes it might not be as easy for you to accept them and to live with them, to cohabit with them every day, because it's one thing when you travel and it's all fun and, you know, fireworks, and you just immerse yourself in this new culture and you explore and you enjoy and you're relaxing and you're on holiday after all. And it's a very different thing when you experience those customs and differences in mentality on a daily basis while living in this country. And yeah, I must admit, some things do drive me nuts in Italy. However, you know, there's so many good things about Italy that they definitely outweigh the bad things or those little annoying things. So it's up to you. You have to decide whether those things, those differences, are very important to you or not. And if they're not as important, you just have to accept that there will be things that will drive you nuts, but that's fine. That's how we all live as expats. You know, even when you form a relationship with another person, even from your country, from your culture, there will be little things that will require for some adjustment, and that's fine. And there will always be things that will drive you nuts in another person. Now imagine living with hundreds, thousands other people in different country with different backgrounds and different upbringings. So that's a very, very normal, very human thing. So, you know, please, if you're writing an article about expat life, stop saying how fun is it to explore new culture. It is fun, that's right, but it's also a challenge, and we have to admit that thing. So thing number 7, that is linked to thing number 6, is that forming new relationships is very challenging in a new country as an expat, because of those differences in mindset and in background and upbringing. You know, there are certain ways that relationships go, whether it's a romantic relationship or just a friendship. You are used to the way that it should proceed in your home country. You're used to the way that interactions are, and how they go, and how friendships or romantic relationships evolve and you know, grow. And it could be very different in your new country, and it could actually be a bit distressing, because people will act the way you don't expect them to act, and people will do the things that you don't expect from them. And definitely there is a need to adjust to it if you want to form new relationships and new friendships in your new country. That's fine. That just requires some time for you to get used to those new ways of life. However, you might not be able to fully accept those ways of running relationships. That's a challenge. It's not an easy thing being an expat. Nobody has ever promised you that it'll be an easy adventure, you know. But it's still a beautiful adventure because it opens your eyes, and maybe you will even find that the ways people have relationships and friendships in your new country is actually something you like. So there is actually nothing wrong with it. Just know that it could happen, and international relationships are never easy actually, because you know, getting used to a new person is a challenge already. Getting used to a new person from a different culture with a different mindset is a double challenge. Thing number 8 that you have to be prepared for if you want to be an expat. You will be constantly bugged with questions and expectations from the people who stay back in your home country. Your relatives, your family, your friends, people you know, your ex-colleagues will constantly bomb you with questions about how your life is going, whether you got a new job, whether your new job is as cool as the one you had back home, whether you found new friends, whether you get used to your new life. You'll need patience to respond to all those questions. Also because sometimes they will actually hurt. They will not be the questions that you enjoy, because you know that's fine. I mean, sometimes it might be a sensitive topic. For example, if you struggle with finding new friends, people asking you from back home whether you found friends or not already could be nerve-wracking, could be annoying, because you might not want to answer those questions. Just prepare that people will ask them, because people are nosy. That's a fact, you know, that's a given. People are nosy. They want to know what do you do, how you're running your new life. You just probably have to find a common answer for all of them, you know, not to invent something new each time. If you don't want to say the truth, that's okay in that case, because you know your life, and you are the only one who knows what are you going through. So in reality, you don't really need to explain your each step to your family or friends back home. They are not going through the same thing, and if you don't want to explain why you aren't working on the same cool job as you did back home, or why have you even decided to move, it's okay if you find a very generic answer to say. So, you know, just be ready for those questions. And complaining is actually not an option too, because people will say like, okay, well, why did you move then? And so yeah, you just have to find a balance and learn that you will be asked lots of questions, but at the same time you can really complain about things going wrong. That's fine, just accept it. Next thing that might bother you if you're an expat is that you will constantly be stereotyped. Guys, I hate the thing, but this is true. No matter how hard you try, no matter how different you are from the stereotypes about your country, you will be stereotyped by the people in your host country, by locals. Stereotypes are very strong in the whole world, and it's just something to accept. Just be ready that you will be stereotyped, and it will hurt. It will get to you every single time. Eventually you will learn to stop reacting to them and to don't bother that much about it, but this is something that will be with you forever. I hate this thing personally, and I hate stereotyping people, or you know, having any stereotypes about people I'm talking about, no matter where are they coming from. However, not all people will be like that, and most people will have those stereotypes deep in their heads, and you can't do really anything about it. So the last thing, and the most important thing, is that While getting used to your new country, to the new culture and people around you, while adjusting to your new way of life, it's very important not to lose yourself, to conserve the parts of your previous life, of your culture, of your home country with you and inside you, because losing yourself is a terrible thing that could happen, and it does happen to some expats. So I just want to warn you about it. Please make sure you don't lose yourself, make sure you keep it with you. You just stay yourself throughout all the challenges that expat life might bring, and nevertheless, you know, even though you're adjusting to your new life, and even though you might adapt some habits, might get used to some new traditions, and even understand new mindset and get used to it, just remember that inside you there is a real person that has had its own background, its own story, and stuff like that. So don't get lost on your way, you know. Try to adapt, try to adjust to a new culture, but know your limits, know your values, know what's important for you, and stick to it. Make sure you don't lose yourself. That's so important. And that's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you like this video. Please comment and put a thumbs up and let me know what else would you like to know about expat life. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram, because I put lots of expat tips and just stories about my own experience as an expat woman in Italy living abroad. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell button to get the notifications of new videos. Thank you for watching and enjoy your day.